Hey everyone, how are we doing? My name is Tim Pongrez and this is Focus on Detailing. What I'm going to be doing in this video is a complete exterior detailing as well as a complete one-step compound over this Caprice. If that sounds familiar, it's because it probably is. I've done almost the exact same thing on a 2009 Ford G6E Turbo, my brother's car, in another video. So what I'll be saying in this video is probably very similar to what I've said in the previous one while I'm outlining the steps. So I apologise if I'm beginning to sound a bit like a broken record, but what this will be doing is helping out any newcomers to the channel. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and don't be scared to share any tips or tricks in the comment section below for all to see. Realistically, this car could have gone in for a two-step compounding and polishing to remove those paint imperfections, but the customer has asked for a single step alone. I've got a new product that was a great fit for this though. After assessing what needed to be done, I jumped straight into cleaning the wheels. There was a bit of mud built up around the wheel well, so rather than just scrubbing straight away, I used a pressure washer to release a lot of it before being more thorough with the wheel woolies later on. This just saves things getting excessively dirty when they don't need to be. After this, I sprayed the wheels in and all around with my cleaner. This was left to rest so it could really break down a lot of the brake dust and grime. While the cleaner was doing its thing, I then gave the wheel wells and the tyres a scrub with soapy water, and then worked my way across the wheel, starting from the top and working my way down to the bottom, making sure to clean every part of it. Once this had been done, the wheels would not need to be touched again until the drying stage later on, as they are now clean. The next step was to rinse down the entire car from the top and working my way down to the bottom. This is to remove a lot of the loose dirt as well as other mess, and is actually the first step involved in doing a hands-free wash. I then coated the car in a thick layer of foam using my foam cannon. My intention here was for it to stick to the car and drag down anything that was left from the rinsing before, essentially loosening it so it could be removed with a little more ease with the pressure washer after resting on the paint for a few minutes. Obviously, these are both very light ways of removing mess from the car, hence the name hands-free. But that's when the next step comes into play, the 2-bucket hand wash. One bucket is to have your soap and the other bucket is to have purely clean water. It's also good to have grit guards in both so you're separating anything that's picked up within the mitt when you rinse it out. I worked over the car from top to bottom, wiping in straight motions and rinsing out the mitt when necessary. As the car was a little dirtier, I cleaned the entire top half of the car first and then went on to the bottom half, rather than the usual panel by panel. It's also best when you've finished a section to rinse it off rather than leaving it till the end. car has officially been cleaned and now needs to go on to the decontamination stage, removing such things as tar, iron fallout, bugs, just to name a few. This can be done through claying the car and or using a chemical decontamination product such as Iron X, which is a less abrasive method. For this car, I'll just be staying with the clay bar though. The car was pulled in undercover and dried with a microfiber towel before starting the decontamination process. I did this just so I could take more time rather than rushing so the water didn't have time to leave any spots over the surface. Now you can use any specific clay lubricant during this, but I prefer to use the wash mitt with the soap, same as the car soap I use to clean the car. You can tell while you rub the clay over the paint what you're actually accomplishing. The surface will go from feeling rough and grippy to feeling really slick. Some spots may be a little worse than others, but just pay particular attention to these places, rubbing in straight motions. Once I've finished an area, I simply rinsed off the excess soap. You should be able to see results instantly. The water most likely parting a little easier over the paint, and hopefully any risen grime should be gone. The car is now set to be dried again, using the exact same technique as before, wiping a wrung out microfiber towel over the car to pick up all the excess water. So this Caprice has been cleaned, decontaminated, and now needs to move on to the correcting stage. Before jumping right in, it's important to tape off any areas that you don't want compound or polish getting into or touching, such as plastics, as you would probably prefer them not turning white and getting damaged. I'll be using Scholl Concepts S20 one-step compound, as it's going to be able to cut better than a polish, and I'm not going to have to go as harsh as a compound alone. I'll potentially be able to do both. I'm also using an orange pad for the exact same reason. It's an intermediate pad that is great to correct but isn't overly aggressive. And these are both used with my ShineMate ERO 600 dual action polisher. I start by adding a few drops of the product to the pad and press down in random places over where I'm working. The polisher would be set to a low speed setting to spread out the product, and I'd move it around quite quickly before slowing my movements down and the polisher's speed up. I work up and down and then side to side to ensure an evenly corrected area. You can see how well it is working, a serious improvement only after a few passes. This had taken me into the night and I was no longer able to work on the car anymore, so unfortunately I had to wait until the morning. Now due to the car resting overnight, I had to rinse it down again in case of any dust, and it also enabled me to wash off any of the compound powder that may have been hiding. So cleaning, decontaminating and correcting were now completed. Time to move on to the protection stage and tidying up other spots of the car so it's set to be picked up, or in this case, delivered. I'm using ammo skin to seal the car in a protective layer and give it a nice glow. I worked in sections, applying a thin layer with an applicator pad and removing it after a few minutes with a plush microfiber towel. This was applied over the paint, lights and wheels. After this, I polished the exhaust tips, applied a tyre shine, protected the plastics, and cleaned the glass. This was the finished results. This Caprice came in looking really dirty with some serious swirls and light scratching, but now after many hours of work, it had a super slick look and a fantastic glow. It can be a little tricky to make a white car stand out, but I'm thinking I achieved it here.
the other side, my love. Try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we live.
That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and don't forget to check out some of my other uploads. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all later.
Sugar, there's a reason.